All right, hey, how's it going, everybody? So, welcome. Today, we're going to be working on some more flight deck stuff with the Novation Launchpad. Ta-da, more fun. Yeah, should be a pretty good time. So, at the request of Michael Stoffelberg, I actually have created a Google Calendar for my stream schedule. So, Twitch allows you to do a stream schedule, but it doesn't seem like you can export like an ICS or anything, which is pretty sad. So, I dropped a link. It is now on my page. Can I view my channel page from Stream Manager? I don't think I can. One sec. So, oh great, echo. Okay, muted. So I will drop this link in the chat. So you should be able to use this. I will try and keep this up to date with my streams because I use Google Calendar anyway to kind of run my life. So that should be pretty useful. But if you're interested, check that out. I suspect probably we're going to stick with this time on Saturdays and Sundays at 1 p.m. with the occasional sporadic weeknight stream. The thing is with weeknights is that I know folks in Europe cannot do it as easily. And also, if I've been working all day, I don't necessarily feel like doing open source, you know? So it's good to take breaks once in a while, too. But that being said, so today I think we are going to start out by probably refactoring out the Launchpad code into its own repositories. That way other folks can consume it from other projects. And then I think we're going to look into making the skeleton for the flight deck project. So probably things like your basic Prometheus metrics, a skeleton that like spins up a couple of Go routines for things like the HTTP server versus like the Launchpad listener and etc. And we'll see how far we get. I haven't really thought about the application design aspect very much at all yet. It's kind of unfortunate. Like I think that it's just going to take a lot of time and thought to get some of those abstractions right. So I don't have that ready for you yet, but we'll do what we can. So with that, let's get started. Oh, I've got the wrong project open in VS Code. Oops. There we go. So back to where we were yesterday. We are at the point now where we have a Launchpad package that has pretty good tests, I would say. I'm pretty happy with the coverage on this overall. Let's close that. We've covered pretty much all of the typical use cases, things like lighting LEDs, filling the grid, etc., listening for events. So I feel pretty good about this. I think it's probably time to factor this out into its own package. I definitely will not be tagging a 1.0 for a very long time. I reserve the right to make changes because, who knows? Like, it might find out that some of the APIs I've built here aren't really suitable for use in the, the flight deck project. But I think we're on the right path. Excuse me. So probably a good first thing to do is going to be to make a new Git repo. So cd ... make dir. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll just call it Launchpad, right? I think the only thing is I might actually have a GitHub forked repo of JBD's Launchpad package. So I'm going to switch to GitHub. Apologies, Bright tab coming up. Okay. I think I might still have a fork of that. So my original plan was to use JBD's package. Yes, I do. The only problem is with this is it is using the port MIDI bindings that JBD wrote, and for some reason port MIDI does not seem to cooperate very well with the Launchpad, at least in my experience. It seems like the RT MIDI driver from Go MIDI works a lot better, so we're going to delete this repo, and we're going to be creating our own, which is kind of sad, but I'm happy to be building on top of like the Go MIDI base, so that way I don't have to implement a lot of that functionality by myself. So great, let's create a new repo. Launchpad. Package Launchpad provides Go support for Novation Launchpad MIDI devices. MIT licensed. Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty reasonable thing. I usually like to indicate the license as well, although GitHub these days has nicer features that'll let you know the license of a repository too. Okay, so we've got a repo. Let's go ahead and switch back to this git init. And git remote add origin. I've got a GitHub SSH alias, MD layer launchpad. A launchpad. Right? That'd be pretty funny. So probably what we want to do is copy the code, copy over things like the readmes and the GitHub Actions builds. So I was previously using SourceHut for things like even Corad, but I tried Actions out for Flight Deck and it seems like it's pretty good. A launchpad, you say? Yeah. I tried out GitHub Actions for Flight Deck, and they seem like they work pretty well. So I suspect that for projects that we just want to build on Linux, so for the time being, this will just be fine on Linux, we will go ahead and just use that. So let's see here, Flight Deck. So we want both the Markdown files. We want the GitHub directory. We want internal Launchpad. Okay. Move all the Go files out here. Remove the directory. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this really quick and get this project in shipshape so we can go ahead and open source this individually. So I previously had this all under Apache, but since this is my own code and it's a library, I think I'm okay just doing MIT. Nobody else has touched this yet. I think that's kosher. So we will remove the Apache headers. Right. And same deal. And now the import path here is going to be MD layer launchpad instead. Yep. Do the tests run. Oh, no Go module, right. So Go mod init. So again, I keep all of my source code under the Go path structure anyway, although I'm not using Go path mode. I've been using modules since 1.11, but the Go path mode is nice, or the Go path structure is nice because you get this nice tree for all of your code. Cool. So now we have a module, so go test. Looks good to me. Test pass. Easy enough. Oh goodness, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce your name very well, but Amit Mahbubani? Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. I hope I got your name mostly right. My apologies. Cool. So, sort of. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Typical American guy here. Sorry. I'll do my best. This is not Apache. This is going to be MIT. So, what's another project I have that's MIT? Corad's Apache as well. I've kind of been following the MIT for libraries and Apache for projects. I feel like that seems to be kind of like a good middle ground because MIT is very permissive, like do whatever you want, and Apache just has like some minor restrictions, but. What is a open source? Oh, NetX. NetX is something I can copy out of. So NetX has a license file that I can steal. There we go. MIT. Perfect. README. This is no longer flightdeck. This is now Launchpad because the flightdeck repo is its own. Yeah, it's super funny as far as pronunciation. So my last name is just Layer. It's essentially pronounced like Layer. The H is silent, but I get Matthew Layer, Matthew Liar, all kinds of stuff. I've been doing 3-clause BSE for libraries and MPL for applications lately. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are different advantages. You know, to be honest, I'm not a licensing expert by any means. I know that there is the, what's it called? Let's switch to Chrome again really quick. So Bright tab coming up. What is it? Choose a license. Choose a license. I think this is what it's called. Yeah. So this just gives you, some thoughts on like, you know, what you want to do, right? So simple and permissive, MIT, cool. More choices. And Apache, so no liability, no trademark, no warranty. Yeah, so Apache is a little less, or a little slightly more restrictive in some ways, but seems fine. Cool. Anyway, back to this. I'm sure there are other like suitable licenses out there for these sorts of things. MPL there too. Yeah, I don't know enough about MPL to be honest. I just I don't really. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not a licensing expert by any means. So package Launchpad provides support for Novation Launchpad devices, MIT licensed. Yep. Done. Launchpad is known to work with the following devices. This package is known to work with the following devices. Yep. That seems fine. Because all I have is the Mark 1. I got a text message. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yesterday, Taryn was going to start streaming, and he'd sent me a couple of messages, but I just didn't see them. So I'm trying to pay a little more attention to my messages window over here because we could have raided Taryn, but I didn't know that he was using a different Twitch account, and I also didn't realize I wasn't following his other Twitch account, so made things confusing. Right, so Linux test, yep. Launchpad actions. So I think the GitHub Actions are going to be approximately the same. Yep, we need. So for the RT MIDI package on Ubuntu, we need Taryn OP. On the for the RT MIDI package on Ubuntu, we need libasound2-dev. Just some ELSA sound bindings, I believe. Close that. Wow, I'm getting lots of tweets and stuff today. Oh yeah, so Dave Cheney wrote a blog post in response to a question that Fatih Arslan posted about like JSON unmarshalling. So that was pretty cool. But my Twitter's been blowing up all day as a result. Go 114 is all we care about. Check out the module, run tests with race. Yeah, it seems fine. And the static check is the same thing, basically. So I have an account specifically for coding. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny. Like, you mentioned that yesterday, and I feel like if I ever wanted to do something else on stream, I would probably just use this account. Like, I mean, I could just set my category, and if you don't care about me using, like, what do you call it? I don't know, if I want to play like I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but if I want to play like Animal Crossing on stream or something, or Splunky, you know, Splunky's a silly game. I'd probably just set my category and people can see that and be like, oh, you know, decide if they want to watch or not. But I understand from both approaches for sure. We don't have the CI script because that is for the license header check. There's probably a better way to do that, by the way. I just haven't done yet. Shell.nix. Is that a... It's not a website. Yeah, you know, I know there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with NixOS. I haven't actually done very much as far as like my desktop goes. I've got a couple of machines running NixOS here. We'll definitely do a Nix stream at some point, or at least talk about what I'm working on my router. We did actually do a brief thing where we updated the CoreRAD dependency for NixOS. But all that was like changing a version number and some hashes, so nothing too fancy. Right, so GitHub Actions, Launchpad, okay, Go Doc, okay, Go Report Card, okay. Go Report Card is pretty cool. It is definitely one of those subjective things. It runs some linters that people don't necessarily like, but I like to... I think it's generally a pretty good indication of code quality, and I'm pretty serious about that, so... can't hurt, you know. 2020, yeah, I think we're good to go on this, so I think I can commit this now and push it. We don't need the Apache headers, again. Did I get them all? I think so. I probably could have done this before the stream, so apologies, but I didn't think it would take that long, you know. GitHub. Oh, right, we want the demo too. The demo would be useful for people running this because the flight deck code right now has this Launchpad demo, so copy that here. Make dir command, move demo to command. Okay. Yep, that's still true, and the import path is now this. So let's real quick, in case anybody wasn't around for the stream yesterday, I can show you what this Launchpad demo does. It's pretty cool. So if I go run main.go, okay, there we go. So don't let me forget to change my scene back this time. Okay, I keep forgetting. So we have a Novation Launchpad here. This is running a Go program that every couple of seconds will fill the entire LED grid with a different color. If I press buttons, the buttons will change color. Some of them will turn on and off, and I believe they will slowly flash with what we have right now. So just in case, I know this is it's a pretty slow flashing rate, but if you are sensitive to that kind of thing, you might want to look away in about 5 or 10 seconds. I will give you a warning, and we'll just demo that really quick. So 3, 2, 1. So things just flash a little bit when you press buttons, and then the button you press turns red. So that's what we have so far. Cool, cool, right? All right, we're all done. So this is something you can actually pull and run on your own if you have a Novation Launchpad device. So I've got the Mini Mark 1. They are now up to the Mini Mark 3 that has full RGB LEDs, which is all kinds of fancy. I missed the demo for all the beer on the wall. Yeah, the wall of beer is definitely something pretty cool too. So let's add this file, and then add the Go mod and sum. Cool. Launchpad, initial commit. Initial copy from flight deck. Right? Again. I've got this system set up so it forces me to set up the whichever Git alias I'm using via my personal work or my work. So git commit again and push -u origin head. Right. So flipping over back to GitHub really quick. So bright tab coming up. There we go. It'll be nice for me when I have a light back here too, so it's not so bright on me either. It's kind of a rainy, gloomy day here in Michigan, so it's definitely darker in this room than usual as far as 1 p.m. goes. So, yeah. So this is the Launchpad package. So you can check this out. I will drop the link here in the chat. This should work. Hello, is that link broken? Oh, there we go. So this should work on at least the Mini Mark 1. As far as I can tell, all the other Launchpads should support either this or a superset of this functionality. So should be in good shape to give this a go. If you've got a Launchpad device and a Go compiler, give this a try. I would love to especially know if this works on like Windows or Mac. I am a Linux person. I only use Linux on my desktops. So we have the demo application here. You can go ahead and run this, and it will do what I just showed you. So let's check the actions. Okay. So it looks like the Linux test is passing just fine, which is good. As for the static analysis, static check is taking forever, like usual. Very slow application. I don't actually know if Dominic is around today or not. I guess I'll find out in a sec here, won't I? I'm kidding. Static check is an excellent tool. If you're not sponsoring Dominic and you have full-time income, I would highly recommend doing so because he's doing a lot of amazing work on a tool that is critically important to the Go community. Yeah, you seem safe today. Yeah, I think I saw him lurking in the chat, but he might just have left the browser tab open. So who knows? Anyway. Cool. So all green. So we're good. So let's go ahead and pull this out of the other package now. Pull this out of flightdeck, that is. /flightdeck. Yep. Pull. Okay. Always love the old RMRF, right? I think we still want an internal directory, but we can add it again when we need it. So we need to change all of the import paths here. We need to remove the demo. Flightdeck doesn't actually import it, right? I guess maybe flightdeck should import it so that way we can get the Go mod properly situated, right? So let's see here. Let's add... I don't know. So I guess this is where we can start the initial skeleton of flightdeck, right? So I haven't really put much thought into like what the Launchpad should do, but at very least we could like make it fill the screen or something and show you that it's working. So that seems like a fine idea. Devices error. Well, so first we need to initialize the driver. So rt MIDI drive.new rt log failed to open rt MIDI, failed to open MIDI driver. Weren't you working on streaming software? Yes. So So I guess I should clarify, not streaming software. I want to create a streaming controller software, right? So essentially I want to take the Launchpad and you press buttons and it can do things in OBS or lights or whatever else. So that is the goal. So that is what flightdeck is. We are just getting started with it though. So it's going to be a while. I hope to have something like, whenever I get my key light, we're going to write a Go package for that, and then we're going to hook it up to this, and we'll make it so that if you press one button, the light turns on or something. Like that will be basically the hello world for flightdeck. But if you think that the README, for example, needs clarification, feel free to let me know. So, or feel free to send a pull request. Yeah, I probably should clarify. It's kind of hard. Like, I guess what I mean is it's not streaming software. I'm not going to write a new OBS. Saw this one C++ game developer stream who has random things fall on her head and bounce off. Yeah, totally. Hey, looks like my friend is getting me another bottle of Knob Creek, so exciting. I'm a fan. We had somebody in here yesterday who mentioned Bookers, and I like Bookers a lot, but I don't really talk about it on stream or anything, so I'm curious. Gobs. I'm not sure what you mean by gobs. What does the GH doing? Is that a shell alias I ran or GitHub? I'm not sure what you mean by GH. Sorry. Launchpad devices. GitHub Actions. Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. So GitHub Actions are running tests and stuff. So I have two workflows in here. So I have the static analysis workflow that will do things like run static check and go vet. So if I pull this up, I am splitting it out so that the static analysis and then the tests are different jobs because why not? It seems like it's an easy enough thing to do. So we set up Go, check out the code, run static check, do some verification, run gobs, go OBS. Yeah, no, thanks. We will write if there isn't a good OBS WebSockets module for Go, we will write one for sure. I haven't looked into that at all yet. So Launchpad, right, and the Linux test runs the tests. So that's all you do so far. Just the GitHub Actions are a couple of basic checks. Remember those Nickelodeon cartoons, the ones that used to slime people? I wonder why that hasn't been done yet. Yeah, Gob is the Go blob format. Yeah, that's why I was confused as well, but I think that Taryn was implying Go OBS. Yeah. Yeah, I suspect there's all kinds of special effects you could do, right? Like, I can turn this into like a soundboard or do visual effects. Like, we'll do all kinds of silly stuff like that. We'll get those things working. Right, so given a driver, fetch the devices. Here, log fatal F. Failed to fetch Launchpad devices. How do you automatically add license note to the header of the file? Do you just copy paste? Yeah, I just copy paste at the moment. It's kind of unfortunate, right? But I could potentially make like a snippet. Like, I guess I could make Apache snippet. That's actually not an awful idea. But for the time being, I just copy and paste it. And I have a script that actually verifies that every 1 sec. So if I run this script and, for example, I mess up the header like this, it'll let me know that the file is missing the license. So that's what I do at the moment. It's not great. I think I could do better, but that's what we're doing. There's a few Go OBS WebSocket packages that look reasonable. There is active OBS WebSocket thing for Go already. Cool, that's good to know. I haven't actually looked. As long as they don't use global state and they allow timeouts, I'll be happy, pretty much. So if we can find one that meets both those criteria, then we will probably use that. But I don't think I'm ready to quite start working on that today. I want to essentially get the initial Launchpad integration stuff set up. 1 sec. Okay, sorry about that. I'm getting messages from a friend. So if we fetch no devices, there is nothing for us to do right now. So we'll just no Launchpad devices detected, exiting. And if we do have devices, then we will go ahead and, I guess for the time being, just do something like, I don't know, we can just print out which ones they are. %02D because we want 2 digits, and then %Q. No, %S is probably fine. I, and then D name, or D string, which is implied, so we don't need that. So this will give it so that we have something that will make the Go mod have less churn, which is good. Found rec. Oh, no, we don't want that. We want MD layer Launchpad. I might have wedged Go, please, briefly. Stand by. Go.mod. Nope. Go.mod. So we do not want Radical Launchpad. We want MD layer. Oops, shoot. Where is it pulling in the... You know, this might be another one of those things where the Go proxy isn't updated yet, so I could do Go proxy equals direct, which shuts off the proxy mode. Go get github.com, MD layer Launchpad. Yep, okay. Right. Okay, now I think things are fine. One of those things where, yeah, the module cache might not have been updated. There we go. Okay, so we have something that prints the Launchpad to the screen, so this is Hello World. Cool. So what we'll do next probably is wire in things like signals and context cancellation because those are useful things to have. And we want to make sure that we turn the Launchpad's lights off when we're done with it because it seems wasteful to let the Launchpad lights, LEDs stay on for the entire time that your computer is on. So, I think we're probably, yeah, I don't want, I don't want Radical Launchpad. 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 I don't want Radi Overwrite. I know what's best. There we go. Go build. Go test. Go mod tidy. Go mod tidy. Yep. Okay. So let's do a couple of commits here. So first we will remove the get rm-r internal. Flight deck. Yeah, we don't want the binary here. Remove. Moved to github.com/mdlayer/launchpad. Yeah, sorry, my I keep noticing here that my image on the screen tends to get in the way of the terminal text when it gets down low like that. So my apologies. I will try to keep an eye on that. Okay, so now we have. I forgot to remove the demo. We're going to force push because we are. Get remove -r command launchpad demo. Maybe better if you have VS Code on the right and terminal on the left. Yeah, maybe. I think the problem is I'm used to working with like VS Code on the left side of my monitor. So I'll just try and be conscious about it. And also I would worry about like the thing is the terminal, like, you know, we're either using it or not at any given time, but we usually have a lot more code on screen on VS Code, and I want to make sure I'm not covering up any of the code we're working on, right? So I think this is probably okay. I just need to be mindful. I've got enough preview windows open where I can usually pay attention, so. Okay. Did we force push? No, we did not. We just amended because we didn't push yet, so we're good. So now we, yeah, MD layer launchpad, cool. So start. Flight deck, initial, hello world with launchpad device detection. And cool. All right, we're done. So yeah, go give this a try at home. All right, that's going to be it for the stream. Take care. Thanks. Just kidding. So now we can actually get to plumbing things in. So I think probably a good thing to do, I feel like I had a lot of pretty good patterns worked out in core RAD from doing things like context cancellation via signal and etc. Actually, I guess there is going to be something new coming up. Is it Go 115 or maybe it was postponed? 1 sec, I'm going to open Chrome. So bright window coming up in now. There we go. And let's see here. So Golang context signal. Pretty sure there's an issue for this. Yeah, my apologies. Thanks for streaming, you sly devil. Yeah, I think my plan today is 4 p.m. US Eastern, so probably about 2.5 more hours. Context signal. Where is this? There's an issue somewhere about adding support so that the context package can cancel a context given a signal, which would be nice. I can't seem to find it at the moment. Maybe somebody can drop it in the chat if you find it. No big deal otherwise. Anyway, so for the time being, we need to copy some code that I'm doing elsewhere. So we're going to open up core rad because I have similar patterns. And we're going to steal some code. It's all my code anyway, right? So it's fine. Right. So yeah, you can see I was actually copying and pasting it the last time I was in this project. So perfect. I have that as well. Okay. Interruptible context. Okay, nice. Oh, that's a nice little helper. It's tidy. Looks like our code is like effectively the same. I just have a I've got a wait group in here because I'm doing some other stuff with it as well. But cool, nice. So. Check for the devices. We need a device before we can do anything. So now we will insert this code. We will add 1 to the wait group. We will. Yeah, so this is interesting, right? So looking over here on the right-hand side. So for Unix, I want to be able to check for sigint and sigterm, but because sigterm is in syscall, for Windows, I just have interrupts instead. So I've got these different builds for this, which I think is kind of unfortunate, but is my understanding that Windows does not have the equivalent of a term. So Windows has interrupt, but the only cross-platform excuse me, signals are like interrupt and kill, and you can't catch kill. So I'm pretty sure you have to do something like this if you want to have sigterm, which stinks. So we'll copy this too. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Signals, Unix.go. Right. It's now 2020. And Windows. You know, it's kind of funny. At various points in my career and stuff, I've tried to essentially make project scaffold projects, like a template I can copy and paste, but I've never really been satisfied with that. Like, I feel like something is always different enough where it doesn't really work out for me, which is unfortunate. Another pattern I use is I do not like globals, so I always create a logger type and then pass that around. So all instances of log.fatal should now be LL. LL is my convention for local logger, and you will also see if I have a... Sweet. You will also see that if I ever have a metrics, I will probably import my metrics package from CoreRed as well. What I call that is MM for metrics node, but so you have LL for local logger and MM for the metrics equivalent. So it's kind of silly, but that was a convention that we were using in the model repo at DigitalOcean. So I have come to really like that convention. I feel like it's nice and tidy. So if you ever wonder why I do that, that's why. Log, cool. So now we have a context. We're going to plummet in to the events because, okay, no Launchpad devices. Should I do this context plumbing first? No, I feel like you need to be able to open the RT MIDI driver. Sweet. Sorry about that. So probably what's going to happen here is we're going to spin up a Go routine for each of these devices to run like essentially the main loop. So I probably have something similar here. Yeah, so in CoreRed, I have the CoreRed new server type, which kind of coordinates all of those sorts of things. We'll probably do something similar, but we'll see. I think for the time being, it's okay to not create this abstraction. So we will take each device. We will, let's create like a run loop, right? So func error. Yeah, function. So we want a function that runs the main loop. So run given a single Launchpad device. So it's worth noting at the moment, I intend to abstract away all these things. So this will not actually take concrete things like Launchpad devices. The goal for this project is to eventually probe for devices that are possibly available and also allow you to plug and unplug devices. So it will actually be able to detect when something like a Launchpad is plugged in or removed. It will be able to initialize things as you plug them in. The goal is to kind of have a long-running daemon that is capable of dynamically dealing with changes to the hardware. So it's going to be tricky, but I have some experience doing that now from the CoreRed because network interfaces can come up and down. So, oh, nice. Is this the signal proposal you were thinking of? Almost certainly. So, yes. So OS signal add notify context. I believe something was actually committed and then backed out. So 11 days ago, this seems like a likely accept. Yeah, I think they added it briefly and then were unhappy with it, and now it's going to be probably in Go 116 at this point. But that will be nice. So yes, Kale linked that proposal in the channel. You can check it out in the chat comments. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we'll take a logger as well. No global state. We don't do that here. And now we're going to want an error group instead because we want to be able to return errors if any of these go wrong. So error group. I should make a helper for doing that. Error group stuff. There is no concept of done in an error group. No, there's not. Okay, cool. A function that returns an error, right? So this function, if error : equals run with D, and we need to actually. So this is the nuisance shadowing thing with Go routines. So if you do like a for range and you don't shadow the variable, such as this D : D here, you will actually get, I believe, either a copy of the first one or the last one for every single iteration because of the way the memory is allocated and such. It's kind of a nuisance, but shadow D for use in Go routine. So I like to just leave a comment because this is not a super obvious thing by any means. So unless you've been doing Go for a while and you're used to dealing with it. Failed to run on %s. Yep. And I think I actually like to pass loggers first. Actually, no. I guess it's probably okay to in this case. It doesn't really matter. So we'll pass D, we'll pass the logger. And for the time being, we will... Oh, well, actually, now that we have... You know what we need to pass first is the context, because we have a context that is now tied to the OS signals. So CTX context. We will use this to signal when our events channel should be closed. So I think probably what we'll do for the time being is just listen for Launchpad inputs on each connected Launchpad. One sec. I'm a popular guy today, I guess. Wow, Twitter is... Oh, yeah, so it's the thing with Dave. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, yeah, we no longer have the loop iteration because that's okay. So we'll just print the print line. We'll print the device. That's fine. And then we will start listing for events. Event C error, : equals, so D events. Pass in the context, and the context tells us when the context is canceled, we will close the events channel so the caller doesn't have to worry about it. Hang on one sec, I'm plugging my stream again. Kind of funny. I feel bad kind of like plugging my stream, but the thing is that, you know, I think people are enjoying this and they want to learn, so I want to keep doing what I can to share my knowledge and you know, show folks what we're doing. So failed to listen for events %v. Okay, so now we're going to, for each event, we will, oops, that's not what I want. So I want for E : equals range event C. We'll print the Launchpad. Oh, why do people always use context? What does it add? So context is the kind of the blessed way of doing cancellation trees in Go. So for example here, what we have going on is this process is going to have several concurrent threads of execution. So first, we will have a Go routine here that is waiting for OS signals. So when you send something like a Control-C, this will fire a signal and then cancel the context. So what canceling the context allows us to do is for each of these other Go routines, we can signal to them that they should stop their work as well. So we will have Go routines for each plugged-in device, things like the HTTP server, any other perhaps like background tasks you can think of as like a cron job. And by canceling the context, we're able to alert all of those things that they should shut down gracefully. So doing this enables you to have nice, efficient cancellation trees for all of your Go routines. So it is very useful. I would definitely recommend using it. And in the case of the not a fan of setting logger instances to context, no. So my problem with setting things in the context is that you essentially, it becomes difficult to tell what is in there, and you have to do things like creating your own special types with like a key that cannot be matched by any other package. Without a lot of channels otherwise needed. Yes, so it allows you to do cancellation without a lot of channels to signal things as well. Context is more tidy. So as far as passing things in the context, really the only thing I think is acceptable to pass is possibly like a tracing ID for like a distributed tracing system, because that actually has some benefits. But as far as anything you explicitly have to use, like a logger, I want to pass that explicitly so that the caller knows exactly where the logger is being used, where it comes from, and how to use it. Because if we pass things in the context, then suddenly you have to check in every function if that value is actually set, and it kind of ends up being a tricky situation. So my preference is to only ever pass possibly like a distributed tracing ID in the context, and everything else should be exclusively passed as parameters. So that's my opinion. Right. So now we have a run loop going on here. We don't need this anymore. Oh yeah, no problem. Happy to help out. So it's worth noting, I've been doing Go for a while, and I tend to have some strong opinions about certain things like, globals and contexts and maps and things like that. And ultimately, I'm not going to say that my opinions are right. It's just more so that these are the thoughts that I have after writing a lot of projects in Go. So I would jam everything in the context, but the lack of types is scary. Yes, exactly. And you'll lose your type safety. You have to do type assertions. You have to do suddenly a comma okay every time you want a logger. It's just it's not worth it, I don't think. But that's just my opinion. Right, okay. We do have signals in this package. How is it not? Oh, we need to go run star.go, don't we? Right. Passing things via context results in hidden dependencies. Yes, exactly, that's my problem with it. I'm fine with strings like trace or request ideas, but nothing I'd be wanting to call. Yep, I totally agree as well. And I've seen some really nice distributed tracing packages that do things like a tracing UUID that you probably don't want otherwise, but the context is able to pass that along quite nicely. So, and if you do need that, you can fetch it. Signals redeclared. Build on not Windows, build on Windows. Okay. Missing return on 92. Right. What's going on here? Are my build tags not Windows, Windows, right? Do I have something wrong with the build tags here, or hang on a sec. That's weird. So go run doesn't work when you have build tags? That's sad. Okay, well, I suppose that's fine. Oops, shoot. Nothing happened. Oh, right, I forgot to wait for... So this is the case where the air group spun up the Go routines so fast. Yeah, go run ignores build tags. Gotcha. Okay. The air group spun up the Go routine, or possibly did not, because the function exited before I waited for the wait group, or the air group, so... Oh, no worries. Yeah. So I was, so basically you don't want to store something like a user model in context and access that. Makes your function signatures obscure. Yes, I agree. Things like logger, database, request scope, key are fine in context. I don't think I would agree with the database and the logger, but hey, I mean, ultimately do what works for you and your team, Failed to run. Okay. Right, so there we go. Hey, that's way too much information, but I feel like we should probably expose maybe some more brief information about the individual devices, excuse me. Or I guess we could give each device an ID after all. So ID integer, so printf running %02d %s. So the ID of the device, which comes from the log, as well as the device string. And then now we're going to print the ID of the device and the event it received. We just want something more tidy than the full output I just showed. Okay. And there we go. You can see device 0 is accepting inputs. So we're good. If I had more than one Launchpad, I would expect this would work with any number of devices, or at least up until whatever the MIDI limits are, perhaps. But all right, I'm gonna go refill on water. I'll be back in just a sec. All right. Oh, you run into the USB limits, I think, since you're getting a new MIDI universe with each device. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know enough about this. I mean, certainly Taryn's a lot more of a MIDI expert than I am. This is actually my first time really playing with it, so. Oh, let's see here. Cool. Hey, awesome. Lithium, thank you so much for the tier 1 gift sub to Amit. I hope Amit is an acceptable shortening since I couldn't pronounce it last time. My apologies. But hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's really funny seeing subs and gift subs in a programming stream. I'm grateful. I really am. Thank you. You know, if you want to spend money on programming stuff, like as I mentioned yesterday, I recommend going to sponsor Dominic Haneff's work. Dominic is doing awesome work on Static Check. That being said, I do appreciate it. Yeah, and we're going to get some emotes. I sent a message to my friend, so hopefully we're going to have some silly gopher emotes and such. So should be a pretty good time. I'm working on it, I promise. Cool. All right, I think this is probably a good place to at least do another commit, right? Because we are setting up the devices. Staticcheck.io, yes. I like his work, but I'm still mad at him for something he said once 4 years ago in a chat. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I remember, it was kind of funny. I think my first interaction with Dominic, I wasn't very good at Go yet, and he might have like critiqued my work, and I was like, oh, well. But the thing is that like, you know, people online mean, you know, generally mean well, right? Like people are trying to help you get better. And I think that for me, it was an important thing for me in my career when I realized that your critique on your work is not a critique of you as a person, right? So I think it's important to try and separate those things if you can, and realize that a lot of the time people are just trying to make things better, you know? But I definitely understand that experience. So this is going to eventually need to detect different devices, but for now it just detects launch pads. I guess that's fine. We're going to need to create interfaces for these sorts of things. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? I know I've had some interactions, especially on like Go Nuts a long time ago, that were a little disheartening for me. I think I like the attitude of like the Gophers Slack group. It seems like folks are generally pretty positive. Definitely recommend that group if you're not there already. Over Launchpad devices and begin the main loop if one or more are detected. You know, it's interesting. So this signal channel, you're always supposed to do a buffer of 1, and I don't exactly remember why, but I'm pretty sure it's documented as such. Let's check really quick. So I'm going to switch over to Chrome. Bright tab coming up. Apologies. I wonder if they could like set up like a full-on dark modes for stuff like this, you know? Right. So signal notify. Oops, sorry. Package signal will not block sending to C. The caller must ensure that C has sufficient buffer space to keep up with the expected signal rate. For a channel used for notification of just one signal value, a buffer of size 1 is sufficient. Okay. Yep, perfect. I can't believe GitHub doesn't have a dark mode. Yeah, you know, I think that lots of things are getting there. It's nice that the whatever the standard is for like the user style sheet thing is kind of moving along finally. And I'm sure there's like a Chrome extension I could use. I generally like darker modes as well, just because they're easier on the eyes and you get less of that blinding effect. But it is what it is, you know. I don't generally mind. I don't really like working in the dark anymore. There was a there was one point where my coworkers and I in an office in the kind of the programmer slash sysadmin corner, we had actually unscrewed the lights above, so it was like a totally dark area. So you just have like the blue glow of monitors and people hunched over their keyboards in the dark. It was pretty funny. So it's built into Chrome on Mac and Windows. Interesting. Okay, well I'm on Linux, so what are you gonna do? Yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's an extension or something, but all right. So I don't know if I showed you yet, but yeah, so context cancellation will work just fine as well. So if we press Control C, you'll see received interrupt, which is the Control C signal shutting down. So this ensures that we close things up nice and neat. Actually, that also means that we need to close the handles to each device when we shut down as well. So when the run loop is done, we need to declose. It's on Linux too. Oh, okay, cool. I guess I haven't seen it. That would be probably a good thing to figure out. So I don't know if I really want to get into it right now, but that would be a good thing for me to figure out for future streams for sure, because I want to try and avoid blinding folks if I can. At least it's in my flags. Okay. Oh, nice. Lithium, thank you so much for the gift sub to Off the Band. I appreciate that. We got a gift sub leader. That's pretty cool. Thank you so much. You know, it's kind of funny. There was for a while I've been like pretty generous with like Twitch gift subs and such, like for streamers I like, and I actually I set a budget now to make sure that like I keep track of like how much money I'm spending on like Twitch, you know. It's so silly, like you don't have to, but when a streamer like accomplishes something like a world record, you get excited and you want to celebrate. It's cool. The community aspect of Twitch is not something I ever anticipated, but I really love it. So I'm really enjoying getting to do it myself, you know. We also need to close the RT MIDI driver when the application ends, so... Right? Let's run the main loop until CTX is canceled. Yep. Run runs the main loop. Sorry, I need to spam chat a bit because Twitch UI devs are not good. One more. Sorry. Oh, no problem. Run runs the main loop for a Launchpad device. Cool. Nice. Lithium, thank you so much for the gift sub to Jules Dev. You don't have to apologize for gift subs. That's okay. I appreciate it. Listens for device inputs until... Oh, I'm documenting it like I'm documenting a function right here. That's silly. Let's see here. So continue reading device inputs until CTX is canceled. I know some of these things are kind of silly. I just like to kind of document my intent. I'm a believer in comments. I'm a believer in code comments for sure. So I got into an argument with a guy on Twitter one time. I said something about, like code comments matter. The code is self-documenting, right? I'm sure we've all worked with somebody who said that is the worst phrase in all of programming. And some guy came swinging at me, gave me a reply like, over unnecessary comments, the worst thing in programming. How can you, if you can't understand code, you shouldn't be a professional engineer, like all this stuff, like just crazy. People are so, I don't know, argumentative on the internet, right? I get it. I think that you and your team, should come to an agreement on what is acceptable for you. But I like to err on the side of more comments rather than less, because certain operations are not at all clear, Okay, so we are printing out the events to the screen. Yeah, I think it's probably a good place to commit this, and then we can work on things like wiring up the metrics, I would suppose. So, cool. Good stuff. Close that. And then if you met him IRL, he would be this meek person. Yeah, totally. I mean, the internet gives people teeth, right? Because you don't have to really deal with the consequences of what you say. And that's unfortunate. I try very hard to be the same person I am in real life as well as online. And I try to maintain positivity if I can. I think that there is an awful lot of negativity in the world, but especially our industry, right? People have very strong opinions and they don't like to be wrong. They don't like to when people disagree with them, and it's unfortunate. For me, the important part about comments is to answer the why, not the how. Yes, exactly. I agree. So for example, I think this shadow D for use in Go routine, like if you've been developing Go for a few years, you might recognize this pattern immediately, but this is so not obvious for a beginner. And I want to make sure that that is fixed, People can write all the comments they like IMO. The only problem is they are not checked by the compiler and stuff changes. Yes, exactly. So I actually believe pretty strongly that if you're updating code, you need to fix the comments too. And I actually will flag coworkers or other folks in open source projects in review, like, hey, this comment no longer applies. This needs to be updated. I recognize that you can't get them all, but I think it's important. People forget to update comments. Yep. Programmers are stupid people. IMO. Maybe under certain circumstances. Yeah. I've been trying thoughtful emoji encode comments last few times. Mixed feedback. Yeah, I try to keep emoji away from my code. I know some folks like it. For me, I think that software shouldn't have a personality, right? Like, I'm kind of bothered when you run an application, it's like, oops, sorry, something happened, and you get 10 emoji. I'd rather just have a much more descriptive error message, but that's just me. Lithium, thank you so much for the gift sub to, I think that's Flo. I think that's Florian from Go for Slack, I assume. So, hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Justin Wall. Sorry, this is going to be hard. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. It's frustrating that GitHub and Bitbucket don't let you comment too far away from the diff. Yes, exactly. I prefer Garrett. Garrett is good, Emojis in GitHub repos equals more stars. Yeah, that's true. I know. I'm never going to have the most stars. That's okay. Lithium, wow, you were on a roll. Thank you so much for the gift sub to Really Frank. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Garrett has my heart, but not enough others. Yeah, same. The first couple times I contributed to Go, I was like, what in the world is this thing? But I got used to it pretty quick. I actually never had to do the re-valid system. I only have had to work on Garrett. So I think I started contributing to Go just after the Garrett switch. Oh, I should clarify, the way developers turn subjective into objective is serious. Yes, I agree. I try to clarify whenever my comments are subjective. So that being said, like the context discussion we had earlier, I would say it's quite subjective, There are folks and teams who will completely disagree with me, and that's fine. I think it's ultimately up to you and your team. I'm happy to provide guidance and what has worked for me. But that being said, if I'm not on call for it, I won't argue too hard with you. But if I'm on call for something, I will fight tooth and nail. Cool. Command flight deck. Okay, gotta run. Have a great stream. Keep up with the good work. Hey, Lithium, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you so much for the gift subs. You really don't have to do that, but I super appreciate it. Yeah, take care. Have a great Sunday. If it's still Sunday, wherever you are. But yeah, take care. Thank you. Command flight deck. Initial device reading loop. Right, so we're at the point now where I think I want to add the HTTP server. So that will be for things like Prometheus metrics, which means we're also going to have to factor out the... I want to use the internal metrics thing. Do I want to open source that as its own repo? I feel like I probably do. The thing is that I work on Prometheus. I'm a member of the Prometheus team, and I want to be sure that it's not seen as a dig on the Prometheus client or anything. I think the Prometheus client exposes too many tunables. That's my personal opinion. So I've created a kind of a wrapper package that I think works pretty well. I guess I'm just going to do it, but I will be sure to clarify in the README and such that this is my take on a testable minimal metrics package. So I think we'll probably do that now because we're going to need metrics. And then we can pull that out of CoreRad too. So we're going to close flight deck briefly. We're going to go back to CoreRad. So for folks who are just tuning in, I have this metrics package I wrote for CoreRad. The basic idea is you have this metrics interface type, and anything that implements the metrics interface can produce metrics. So there's the counter function. So given a name, a help string, and label names, it produces a counter. And then a counter is just a function that you apply labels to. A gauge is similar. You have a name, a help string, and label names. And then it produces a gauge, which is another function which can apply a value to, because a counter only counts up by 1. That is all counters can do, at least in Prometheus terminology. And a gauge can be set to any value. So the way these work in practice is, hey, James Harris, thank you so much for the follow. So the way these work in practice is you initialize this by doing something like a new Prometheus, which creates a metrics interface compatible with Prometheus. Whenever you call counter, we will create a new counter vec, register the metadata, register it with the Prometheus registry that's passed in, and then whenever this function is invoked, we will apply the function call here with the labels that were specified and then increment the metric by 1. So this provides kind of a very small, thin porcelain layer over things like Prometheus, but also we have like an in-memory type we can use for tests. I think it's very important to write tests for your metrics as well. We also have the discard type, so if you want to just discard all of your metrics, which is also useful in other tests where you just don't care, that's fine too. So the way this looks in practice is... Oh, I think I factored things out. Something like this. So given a metrics interface, you create a counter. It's called foo total. Its description is it's a counter. It has 2 labels, address and interface. So whenever I call foo counter, I pass in the address, which could be like localhost, and the interface, which could be eth0. C2 here has no additional labels, so you just invoke it as is. The gauge is very similar, so the gauge is the same kind of setup, but you also pass a float64 value as the first argument because gauges can be any given value at any time. So I think this is a pretty good little approach. So we're going to factor this out into its own package. I'll probably call it like metrics light or something. By the way, I just tracked down the OBS preview window is black issue. Do it to it running on the right half of my monitor and not on the left half. When using OBS on the left half, everything is fine. That's wild. I wonder if it is like the X server geometry, because I'm pretty sure when I was setting it up, I had it on my far right display as well, because that is where I initially intended to have OBS. I now have it on the left, so maybe that makes a difference. Cool. Well, I'm glad to hear you got that worked out. So we talked yesterday. I think that Stoffelberg and I are probably going to end up doing a squad stream at some point where we work on a project together. We'll hop on a video call. We'll probably hop on a voice call, and we'll have a link so you all can hop in and see both of our streams at once, and we can talk about things and work together. And I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. Perhaps we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. I don't want to commit Michael to something that he is not ready for, but yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. We're gonna factor this out into its own package. I think it's a good idea. So should I call this metrics light? That's kind of what it is, right? It's a lightweight metrics package. It's not meant to be the jack of all trades. It's also worth noting we don't support Prometheus histograms or summaries yet, and I do want both those things, but we'll have to see. Oh, that's a good point. Be sure to try out the VS Code live share extension for that. Yeah, totally. I have used that with a couple of folks at work before, and it actually works super great. So I'm a VS Code user. I am actually not sure what Michael uses, but I think he mentioned that he'd be willing to use VS Code for that purpose. So yeah, that's a great idea. So I think we're going to call this metrics light. That's really what it is. It is a lightweight metrics package. So copy out of, where does it live? CoreRad internal metrics to metrics light. Yep. Metrics star dot remove dir metrics. Okay. So now we need to close this new project. AFK to my dinner. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like this time of day. It seems like folks like this too. 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern allows me to get folks who are in Europe. It is the evening for them. It is early afternoon for me, and it's late morning for folks in the West Coast. So this seems to be kind of the best time I've found so far. I think we'll probably keep doing this Saturdays and Sundays as long as I am able. Yeah, don't have any other plans right now, so why not, right? We're gonna make this MIT as well. So 2 new packages today. Very cool, huh? light. Metrics light implements a lightweight testable metrics interface. Testable metrics interface for Prometheus. Testable metrics interface focused on Prometheus metrics. Package metrics light implements a lightweight testable metrics interface focused on Prometheus metrics. I feel like that's a little repetitive. Lightweight testable interface? Lightweight testable. Testable observability interface? Metrics interface? I feel like it's probably fine. I don't know. It's a little confusing, but metrics light. Yep. So this is now going to be MD layer metrics light. There's no go mod yet, right? So go mod init. Nothing. Oh, right. So every use of metrics here now has to be metrics light. Dot. Okay. Any luck? Sweet. So I think that is the it's compilation, but I actually had a pretty obnoxious data race in this package for a little bit that I had to resolve, and the way I did that was adding some more locks around each of the internal maps for the memory type. But I have this test here, which I think is pretty cool. To do check concurrency safety, yeah, for sure. Hey, INAMAAH. If that's supposed to be pronounceable, I guess I'm not sure. But hey, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. So this test is pretty cool. So it creates a single gauge. We poke at it from 8 different weight groups, and we are constantly incrementing the gauge as well as checking the samples map. So this ensures that all of the locking is sane, and the erase detector will explode pretty much immediately if it's not. So this is a nice little pattern I like to do, like essentially create a bunch of Go routines and manipulate the same thing over and over again to verify that it has no data races. Okay. Recorder. Memory. Oh, record stores. Yeah, this comment is totally out of date. So I guess going back to that comment, right? You know, comments can get out of date. It is unfortunate, but I think it's still worth doing. I think that the comments are still justified. Metrics light. So I guess now we've got a couple of panics for misuses. So the memory type will panic. Actually, the Prometheus type will as well. So I guess we should document these things on an interface implementation must be safe for concurrent use. If any interface methods are invoked to create a metric with the same name as a previously created metric interface, those methods should panic. Callers are expected to create metrics once and pass them through their program as needed. I think that's a reasonable expectation. We don't like global state. I don't like global state. Some of you might. I don't like it. I don't allow it in my code. It just makes things too hard to follow. I think we need to document the cardinality thing, right? Counters must be safe for concurrent use. Let's see here. The labels. The number of label values must pass when the counter is invoked must match the number of label names defined when the counter was created, or the counter will panic. Global state in a concurrent project seems pretty risky too. Yes, that is exactly my thought as well. It makes it harder to have concurrency safety. It makes it harder to test. It makes it harder to reason about. I don't think there's any valid reason to really keep it around. I know I take a rather hardline stance in some of these things compared to other folks, but I think it's worth it. So I'm going to link a cool blog. We talked about this, I believe, a couple of weeks ago now. So we're going to switch back to Chrome, and here we go. Let's see here. Peter Borgen, Industrial Programming. This is an excellent blog that Peter Borgen wrote. Some of you may be familiar with him. I'll drop this in the chat as well. I'm pretty sure there's a TLDR somewhere that really kind of sums this up. I can't find it at the moment. I'm not sure where it is, but I think it mostly comes down to, you shouldn't have global state. Maybe I'm thinking of another blog from Peter, but this blog is excellent as well. The basic idea is that there are rules you can follow to make your programs much easier to write, reason about, test, etc. And pretty much the biggest one is that you should never have global state. Just don't do it. Things like loggers, metrics, etc. should always be passed as dependencies, because that way you can easily swap things out. It is easier to reason about the concurrency safety. It ends up being more typing, but ultimately, I don't know why people are so bothered by typing. It's it can be, less clean, sure, I guess, but I think code that's easier to reason about is more important than saving characters, Counter gauge. Gauge. Yep. Maybe global state makes sense in games. Yeah, so I actually understand that in lots of applications, you're going to have essentially the main thread where things like OpenGL run. And in that case, you effectively do have global state, right? But for applications like this, since I'm not using any APIs with those sorts of requirements, since we're doing brand new greenfield projects, I think it's worth getting rid of as much global state as possible. Okay. Unexpected panic message. Right. Yeah, I've got a test here that verifies that certain things produce certain panic messages. So, right. Cool. Should probably put a to-do here for testing other implementations for the panic guarantees as well. So to-do, test other interface implementations for panics. Yeah, I thought this was kind of a video chat. Great. Not right now. I thought this was kind of a cool pattern. I think I discovered this from somebody else and I really liked it. So you create this wrapper called panics that invokes a function. And what this does is it will output if there was a panic, it will tell you, okay, this becomes true. And it will output the string message in this case. So what this does is defer, recover, on panic, capture the output string and return that fn did panic. So you run the function, and if the function panics, this runs. If the function doesn't panic, this runs. So I think this is kind of a cool little pattern, right? I have sync pool, etc. in global state. I feel bad now. So actually, I'm pretty sure sync pool is one of the few cases where you want a global state, because that is actually an optimization for the garbage collector. And in theory, you're getting objects which have no dependency on other threads anyway. So I think sync pool might be one of the very, very few circumstances where you do want that. To be honest, I'm not an expert with it. I know there are, if any folks from the performance channel are here, I know there are probably people who know a lot more than me. But I think that sync pool is actually one of the few use cases where it is a good idea. I understand that if you have multiple sync pools, you're kind of duplicating work a little bit, right? Because also, I wouldn't consider sync pool to be containing state. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's essentially kind of like a more efficient memory allocator, right? is the idea, at least, like reuse things up until the next garbage collection. So we're going to create a new Git repo. Standby state. Yeah. Yeah. I guess the thing is like it as much as I'm sitting here being dogmatic, like you shouldn't be dogmatic. You know, you should apply advice like this to every circumstance, right? So I was sitting here arguing for 10 minutes about this, and then, you know, there's immediately an example, a counter example to my argument. So it just goes to show, right? It's good to try and keep an open mind if you can. Star status get diff staged. Prometheus client, yes. Go compare, yes. Yeah, the Prometheus client pulls in a bunch of dependencies, which is kind of unfortunate. Things like the protobuf stuff for the old protobuf format. It's kind of sad. I guess if I wanted to, I could potentially just do the basic Prometheus stuff on my own, but we're not going to worry about that today. We need things like a license and README. So let's see here. What did we just create? Launchpad. So copy the markdown files, as well as the GitHub workflows. Linux test. We do not need Cgo in this project, thankfully. Check out, run the tests with race. Yep. No Cgo. Static check, once again, awesome tool. Definitely, if you're not running static check in your code base, you really should be. It will save you a lot of trouble, for sure. And if you have the means, definitely sponsor Dominic's work. Dominic does amazing, amazing work for the Go community, and I believe that, you know, the more sponsorships he has, the more time he can devote to open source projects like Static Check versus doing closed source consulting work and etc. So, if you can, I definitely recommend, you know, throwing some sponsorship Dominic's way. Metrics Lite. Metrics interface focused on Prometheus metrics. Right. So MIT licensed. I actually learned how to store slices correctly in sync pool through Static Check. Yeah, totally. Like it helps you catch so many subtle little problems. So one of the big ones I noticed is that you were not supposed to call tfatal in a Go routine. And tons of people do that. But the testing docs actually mentioned that if you do that, it can mess up kind of the test run or state. So you always want to panic in Go routines instead of tfataling. And that is a super common problem that lots and lots of code bases have. So Static Check can help you catch that immediately. Disclaimer. I am Delaire. I'm a member of the Prometheus team, but this package is entirely my own work and does not represent, just in case, the opinions of the Prometheus team as a whole. I think that's fair, right? I mean, I just want to mention that, like, you know, this is not an official endorsed Prometheus project. This is my opinion about the kind of interface that you need to have a minimal metrics layer, which allows you to register metrics and pass them around and test them. And those are the things I care about. So I don't need a lot of functionality that's available in the package. So I want to hide as much of that as possible away and add thin porcelain layers over it. Star. Okay. Let's go ahead and create a new repo again. So 2 new repositories today. That's pretty cool, huh? Switching to GitHub, so bright screen coming up. There we go. It'll be nice when I have the key light again, because it'll be less bright for me too. So it's going to be a lot of fun creating a package to mess with that the light using the network protocol. Metrics Lite, lightweight, testable metrics interface focused on Prometheus metrics. MIT. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Remote add origin, GitHub, MD layer, metrics light. I don't think we've committed it yet, have we? Nope. Initial copy from corrad internal metrics. right? Yeah. Yeah. Again. There we go. And -u origin head. Okay, switching back to GitHub. So bright screen coming up. There we go. Great. So now, hello, GitHub Actions. Oh, did I? I forgot to commit them, didn't I? Shoot. Well, I already have to do a. Hang on a sec. .github add actions workflows push. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So now we should have GitHub workflows running pretty quick. We have the Godoc reference, very nice. Yeah, see, I think this is a pretty good little metrics interface, you know? You have this memory type that lets you do things like testing. So when you register counters and gauges here, you can output a map of all the different time series, and the time series are partitioned by different label combinations. So if you have like interface bytes total, ETH0, ETH1, bridge 0, etc., those are all different time series. And each of these series structures contains the name of the metric, the help string, as well as the sample map. So pretty cool, huh? I feel pretty good about this. This is actually inspired by something we had at DigitalOcean as well. We had an internal metrics package that was very similar to this. Enabled things to be tested in a much easier way. So I am glad to have something available in the open source world now that does this too. So, but to clarify, it is a clean room implementation. I have not worked at DigitalOcean for over 2 years now, or over a year and a half. And it's totally clean room just based on the ideas, not at all the code. So what else do I want to look at? Right, so we actually want to rip out the Corad metrics layer now because we can use metrics light. And then we'll get back to the flight deck stuff. So my apologies, you kind of finds out with one of these things that you have to do, 3 or 4 different steps to put things together, right? So go git. Again, we are doing go proxy equals direct because I suspect the module proxy will not be updated for now. So excellent. We are going to remove the metrics package, no longer needed. And now we need to find every place we use it and swap it out. So internal metrics dot. Oh boy. We got the generated config file there. So the metrics file, yeah, is to be expected. So Corad has a variety of gauges and counters. Again, we're going to do things like histograms and summaries later, but for the time being, we can move on. So metrics dot. Metrics light. Okay. It's just Corad server.go. No, wow, that's weird. It's an unexpected message. Sorry. Was it just in the metrics file? I think I might. Oh, metrics test. Advertise test. Yeah, we got a few places we have to change, so. Let's see what's up with that line. I suspect it's the metrics type as well. So server line 30. Yep. So metrics dot. This is now a metrics light Prometheus. Did it? Okay, it did. So we need to look at the advertiser tests and such as well. So this is where we're really getting into the weeds, right? But this is, it won't take too long, thankfully. Metrics dot. Yes, metrics light. Okay. Let's go one package at a time. Oh, I think this package is actually compiling now. Yep. Test pass. Sweet. Yeah, the Corad tests are a bit of a mess, but they work incredibly well. Like they've caught quite a few subtle problems as far as like my neighbor router advertisements and etc. go. So it's been awesome. Yeah, and with that, I believe we have fixed every call site. Sweet. Let's go verify that the binary builds. Yep, looks good to me. Go compare. Yeah, that's fine. Tidy. Always tidy your modules files. This is just lots of search and replace. Per advertiser metrics light. Yeah, that's what I was worried about is when you rename stuff in mass like that. Per advertiser metrics. Why is... Oh, right. I thought for a sec that I had some duplicated code, but it actually looks like this. I've got this series method that looks suspicious, but this is because we need this for testing. So we want to be able to dump all of the time series from the metrics type in here. Gotta love the big red diff, right? Okay. Oh, sweet. Thank you for the spam. Enjoy your enjoy your ban if I can figure out how. See ya. First person banned in the channel. That's fun. You all think I should go buy some followers, right? Would that help me? What a milestone. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny. It's not the first timeout though. At first I was like, oh, I could time out, but then I'm like, nah, it's just if it's spam, I'll just ban it. But my brother hopped on my stream like the very first day I set up Nightbot, and he spammed like a bunch of emoji, and it immediately banned or timed him out for like 10 minutes, which is pretty funny. So, yep. Oops, more. Yeah, I was gonna say, Taryn, you're slacking off over here making coffee. That's okay. You know, I think that we're in a good place right now where the stream is not busy enough that I can't keep up with chat or anything. So, yeah, no problem at all. I might add a couple more mods just because, but I'm not too worried about it either. That was just weird. I've never seen bot spam like that in Twitch. Although I guess if you some streamers I watch actually have it set to followers only mode because they will end up in a situation where a bunch of bots will come in all at once and just totally take over the chat. Especially if you're like a big partnered streamer, but clearly that's not me. So, metrics, moved to github.com, md layer, metrics light. Awesome. Feels good to delete code, right? With that being all done, we can move back to flightdeck and add some metrics. The gaming streams I mod for, I have to be a bit more focused in here. Yeah, totally. I mean, to be honest, like nobody said anything like horrible here. You know, I'm really thankful. I think that in general, I'd imagine the programming community is going to be a little less toxic than the gamer community, but I suppose it depends on which areas, you know, right? Enable chatting for verified emails only. Oh, interesting. You can do that. Maybe I will. I'm not too worried about it right now. If it becomes a problem, we can do things. I think the thing is that I know I've at least encouraged a few folks to make Twitch accounts, so people might be brand new to Twitch and not realize you have to do some of these things, and I don't want to make it inaccessible to them. So if it becomes a problem, we can definitely evaluate that, but thank you for letting me know that's an option. I appreciate that. So now we want to... Actually, I think I want the core red code open as a reference because we want to set up an HTTP server and bind some metrics. Just wait until programmers start discussing which language is the best. So there are certain languages that if you say are the best will earn you an automatic 10-minute timeout. So good luck. Just kidding. Yeah, with that being said, I'm going to take a quick timeout to grab some water and maybe some coffee. So I'll be back. Alrighty, we are back in seated mode. No coffee this time around. Thought about it, but that would be I don't know. I feel like I don't really need it, but yeah, this is the wall of beer. Somebody mentioned it earlier. If there were questions about that, I'm happy to answer and stuff. But want to sit down and take a quick break. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. So, Gradoopy-doo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Started a cold brew. We'll find out tomorrow if it's any good. Yeah, cold brew is awesome. So would recommend. You miss so much beers from Berlin. Yes, I do. I am really sad that GopherCon Europe is canceled. Or it's going to be online only. So I will be speaking at that. That'll be in about a month. Yeah, totally. It's going to be online, which is very cool. So I'm glad I'm going to get a chance to do my presentation anyway. But I was really looking forward to going to Berlin for the first time. So what are you going to do? So I think going back to what we were doing before, we need to create the HTTP server and initialize a few metrics. Praying all systems go is happening, but not really holding my breath. Yeah, all systems go seems like a super cool conference too. I wanted to apply to that to do a talk about Netlink, actually. I think that my Netlink package could be an interesting thing to talk about, or just like Netlink as a whole. But I kind of forgot this year. Where am I located? I am located in Kalamazoo, Michigan, so home of Bell's Brewery. Yeah, Kalamazoo is a great place. I'm really thankful and fortunate I've been able to work from home now for the past 6 years or so. So I've never had to move to New York or the Bay to get a job in tech, which is awesome. So I appreciate that more and more places are allowing remote work. Oh, the CFP is now. Yeah, I think they're looking at October. Oh, good to know. Okay. I guess I will check that out then. I'm kind of interested. The thing is like preparing a conference talk is like exhausting, right? I mean, it's just it's a ton of work. I enjoy doing it, but I enjoy doing the conference thing. It's definitely helped me out, but it's just it's a ton of work to prepare and practice. And so this has all the retry stuff. I don't know if I want to incorporate that right now, but I don't know. Oh, you're in NYC. Cool. Yeah, I really like New York, actually. It's not the kind of place I'd want to live, but I enjoy visiting a lot. I used to work for DigitalOcean, so I spent a bunch of time in New York, actually, especially early on. But I grew up in Michigan, so I am very much a smaller city kind of guy. So that's just me, So handler. Yeah, we're going to need a HTTP handler, so... Do we need a new package for that yet? Probably not. Oh, I hate it. I want to exit one. Yeah, it's a cool place. It's definitely perhaps not for everybody, but I think it's very cool that more and more technology employers are starting to allow remote work. I think that's going to be a really nice thing for our industry. So again, because we hate global state, we're always going to use the serve mux type instead of the default mux. Immediately close the server. Yep. Okay. So this is context support for the HTTP server. So basically, this is copied and pasted from Corrad. Hang on. Let me see if there's anything else I want to take before I close the project again. Possibly the Prometheus. Yeah. This code. So this will be configurable. So to do configurable. So this takes the Prometheus registry and exposes an HTTP handler for it at /metrics. So we'll need to plumb all that through as well. Now, if only cheaper to get fiber in rural communities, I could move. Actually, some rural communities do have like crazy good fiber. Actually, so Climax, Michigan, haha, joke, they're located, what is it, maybe 20 minutes west of east of Kalamazoo, and Climax has a fiber company that will do fiber to the home, like gigabit symmetric service, which is insane. And I wish I could have that, but my area is too far away. We can try to export NYC to rural places. Yeah, maybe. NYC mesh. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm not familiar. I take it that's like a local WISP or something. Serve HTTP, given an address. Given an address and a context. And a Prometheus registry. Okay. So the reason I'm doing it this way is we create a TCP listener. Actually, I don't know if we need this anymore now that we have HTTP server close, but we'll do it anyways for now. We create a TCP listener. We initialize our serve mux and our server, so we do things like set a scene read timeout. When the listener is ready, we will start listening for context cancellation, and when the context is closed, we immediately close the server, which will terminate the HTTP connections, and also, I believe it terminates the underlying TCP listener. Hang on a sec. Yes, close returns any error returned from the closing of the server's underlying listeners. Yes, exactly. So, perfect. So we will wire that in as well. We will start the HTTP server. We'll do it just before. So EG go. Oh, so it's a community network. That's very cool. I wish we had something like that here. I know that there are folks in cities and such who will actually have like a WISP as their backup ISP. So my router runs NixOS, so I have full control over whatever I want to do with it. And I, at one point, did a little bit of an experiment with like an LTE SIM card, and I was actually able to set up like backup over LTE. But then I was concerned that since I'm on Google Phi and I pay $10 per gigabyte of data, I might run into a situation where my PS4 pulls a 50 gigabyte update, which can be pretty bad over LTE. Hey, it's so good to see you here. Welcome. It's great to hear from you. It's kind of funny. Somebody was actually mentioning the other day, like, oh, I haven't heard from Marco in a while. So it's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So I think that like what I think would be pretty cool is if the SpaceX Starlink project gets off the ground, if we could do something like that as a backup connection, that would be sweet. I would love to have like multiple ISP failover, but of course it doesn't really matter. Like I'm just running my home stuff. Oh, we have to allocate a port. So let's do that really quick. So what I'm going to do, we're going to switch back to Chrome, another bright window. My apologies. The light, it blinds. Prometheus default port allocations. So if you ever create a Prometheus exporter, this is kind of the canonical list of what lives where. So what I will usually do is find a free port. I actually went through once in a while and I swept up all the unused exporters. Yeah, see, the problem is like people will add their stuff to this list, like Intel work in progress, and then they just never update this. So I hope that, I guess I could just like steal this port, right? I mean, we'll look down further, but hope it gets off the ground. Otherwise, something went bad at launch. Yeah, haha. You're the worst. I've got a few exporters in this list as well. We just want to try and find an open port that we can use for our own code. Wow, good to be in a country with unlimited no data cap LTE, no caps on cable either, of course. Used to do 300 gigs a month with LTE. Wow. So with Google Phi, I have the option to do unlimited LTE, but it gets slower after like 22 gigabytes. So in my mind, it's not really worth it, considering how often I would need it, because I can plug in my Pixel 3 into my computer. It will show up as an Ethernet interface or as a whatever kind of network interface on Linux, and tethering works just fine over USB. So I can do that if I really need to. There's a lot of exporters. Let's just, okay. Cool, so 9780. I guess I'll be nice right now and I'll add a new port instead of doing that. But yeah, thankfully, so I am with Spectrum here in the US, formerly Charter, which is, and Spectrum does not have, what do you call it? Spectrum doesn't have data caps either, which is great. Comcast does, so you don't want Comcast if you can avoid them. But Spectrum does not, which is nice. So we're going to allocate port 9780 for flightdeck. Cool. Three LTE networks, each has unlimited data around 20 to 30 euros per month for 100 megabit. Wow, that's amazing. Ran off an unlimited Verizon LTE modem when I lived in an RV. Hard to get those anymore, though. Yeah, totally. My parents had a grandfathered Verizon unlimited plan for a very long time, and I think they maybe finally got rid of it. I guess I'm not sure. LTE is like max 150 gigabytes. That's still super generous, I feel like, especially compared to the US. Cable is unlimited and relatively fast, which is nice. Yep. Finland is still leading the gigabytes per sim GB. Is that gigabytes per sim metric? Deficient has statistics. So what we just forgot already. 9780. Yes. Cool. So now, oh shoot, I 9740. I wasn't even paying attention. It's even worse here in Germany. Yeah, sorry. Oh wait, so Jules Dev from Germany. Are you a Julius that I know? Gigabytes per sim, yes. The thing is, like, some people on Twitch have different names than their other handles elsewhere, so I'm never sure. But there is a Julius who works on Prometheus. Nope, I'm not. Okay, cool. I was just curious for a sec, but thanks for clarifying. Phi worked fine and ridiculously fast in Finland when I was there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Phi is awesome for international travel. Like, I've been to Canada, Denmark, UK, no problems at all with Phi in any of those. So 9740 is our port. How good is Google Phi? I have had a great experience with it, actually. It's not perfect. So for a long time, like, you were paying $10 a month or $10 per gigabyte of data pretty much no matter what. But now they have an unlimited plan, which is nice. The Sprint coverage tends to be hit and miss, but the T-Mobile coverage is generally solid, and in some of the more rural areas, the Sprint is actually just fine. So I've been a fan. I've been using Phi now for, I think, 4 years, 4 or 5. So it's good. Just a German student. Cool. Well, welcome. Thank you for hanging out. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that, folks who are students are able to have things like Twitch streams these days to, more exposure than like people, my age or older did. 10 gigs for $10. So it's $20 base per month, and then every 1 gigabyte of data you use is $10. So, but there's also an unlimited plan for like $70 a month. So up to you. Lived in the U.S. 2 years and was so surprised. Sometimes had no coverage at grocery store or tourist attractions. Yeah, totally. Depending on where you are, it can be hit and miss, and especially grocery stores, like all of the metal. I feel like it kind of creates like that Faraday cage thing, right? Very hard to find no signal. Yeah. I don't use Google Voice. I know some people had like problems with Google Voice and Phi, but I do not use it. Yeah, T-Mobile, US cellular coverage is good. Sprint is bad. Yep. That's been my experience with Phi as well. Failed to serve HTTP. Wow. Everything above is expensive here in India. Gigabit fiber for $700 a year. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I think I'm paying $120 a month for 1 gigabit down and like 50 megabit up on cable. So the United States is unfortunately pretty backwards in some ways. 9740 is our default. We need to pass in the Prometheus registry as well as the address. So reg is a Prometheus registry, and for now it's just going to be a to-do because we have no metrics. So I suppose we could initialize it. So we could do, let's see here, $60 a month for symmetric gigabit. Jealous. Super jealous. I like the pedantic registry because it will panic, I believe, if something is incorrect. And I like when my programs panic because it lets me know that something is clearly broken instead of failing silently. So I would rather have something crash and burn and get alerted about it. My previous apartment was $60 a month for ADSL V1. Yikes. That is no fun. So now we're going to import metrics lite. We are going to have the new Prometheus. So this metrics node can be passed around. We're going to pass this probably to each device or each of these run loops. Right. And, well, maybe not right now. We're going to need to figure that out, but we'll just do something silly like register a single gauge. So what do I have in core red? I have like server info, which gives like the semver version. We're going to want similar things, right? So info about this build. flightdeck. Create a gauge. Hello? Oh, there we go. My finish, 1G down, 100 meg up. cable is €65 per month, 40 for 420. Wow. Cellular is 100 megabit unlimited domestic calls, €17 per month promo. But I've had promo rates for 6 years. Yeah, it's the same thing here in the US. You can call them and argue every year if you really want to. I thankfully don't deal with the bills here, so I don't have to do that. But my girlfriend might have to do that. Oh, right. Go run doesn't work. It's so sad. Build info. Yep. Okay. Build info set to 1 with a version of development. Core red left inscription on line 82. Yes, thank you. Good call. I might have caught that later, but yeah, thanks. It's good to see you here. Thank you for coming to hang out. I appreciate that. Oh wait, can I? I think I can do this, can I? What happens if I... I'll figure out later. Okay. So build info is development, right? So now we have a metric. It is registered with this registry. We're going to serve it. And now we should have something listening on port. So core red is 9430. This is 90. That Prometheus metrics thing is growing really fast. 9470. Okay. 9470 metrics. Oh, nice. So, woohoo. After 4 to 5 days of looking at hex dumps and ASN1 output, I have managed to write my first EFI authenticated variable on a system in pure Go. That is incredibly cool. Yeah, so Fox Boron is working on a project, a Go EFI project. We're going to open up Chrome. Here we go. Bright screen. I think this is incredibly cool. So I know I've got it under my stars list. So github.com/mdlayer. I love low-level system stuff like this. I think it's incredibly fun. So I have starred. Also, check out this Get project by JonesCoo. This is awesome. This is a very handy little tool as well. I've got a few things started here, but yes. So Go EFI, I take it, and then SBCTL. So yeah, very cool. Check out these repos. I'd love to do some splunking on EFI on stream. That'd be fun. I know almost nothing about it, but I actually did write a tool that might be of interest. So when I was at... Where is it located? CD. DigitalOcean? No. Source, GitHub. I guess I don't have it cloned. Okay. Oh, actually, so I can show off Get. So Get, DigitalOcean, Go, SMBIOS. So this is a package I wrote, and this will clone it into this path, my Go path. So thank you again, JonesCoo. Super helpful tool. I love it. So Go SMBIOS is a thing I wrote that pulls the SMBIOS data out of memory. So SMBIOS is sometimes referred to as DMI, contains lots of information about your hardware. So if I run ls SMBIOS, Go, oh, there's no module in this? Oh, yikes. Yeah, so I left DigitalOcean a couple years ago. This doesn't look like it's been maintained, unfortunately. I can submit a pull request, but... right, so if I run sudo... Is this going to show anything I don't want you all to see? It might. So we're going to run the lighter one instead, so lsdims. So what this program will do is main.go. Basically, we open the SMBIOS stream, which is either located in procfs on Linux or possibly at a certain reserved location in memory. So that is a tricky thing. We begin decoding the stream, we print out the version, and we are looking for memory devices. So within each of these devices, we can see what the memory DIMs are for my computer and possibly more stats about them. So if I go build this and sudo lsdims, do the password thing. Is that kind of low on the screen? Yeah. So you can see here, I actually have DIMs in 4 slots named A1, A2, B1, B2 that are all 16 gigabytes apiece. And my computer has SMBIOS 3.2. So this was a fun little project I wrote. I had a chance when I was at DigitalOcean to do some open source work, and this is something I wrote in that time, and I had a very good time doing it. I actually have implemented this in Rust as well, but I thought this was a cool little thing. This might be of interest for Fox Boron and his work, possibly. I'm not exactly sure. So yeah. Anyway, back to this. So we have flightdeck running. We can now pull some metrics. Nothing. What did I forget? slash metrics. Okay. No clue. Got to take a look. Yeah, take a look at that. Let me know if that's helpful at all. It pulls like hardware information about the system. It's not one of those like low-level weird things. So perhaps it will be useful for you. I'm honestly not sure. Right. So what we want to do here is if error is not equal to nil, and error is not equal to HTTP error closed, or error server closed, because we're closing the server explicitly. Right? Is this what I want? I think. So return error and return nil. I believe this will work. Control C. There we go. We're good. Right. So, why are we not serving metrics? So, oh, we have a registry but it has no metrics associated, right? No, we created the build info and that's associated. What am I missing? We pass the registry. We get the handler for it. Okay. Maybe not curl-s. Failed to connect. Ah. Okay. Did I get the wrong port? I did, didn't I? 9740. Not 9470. 9740. Is that really what... Okay, we're going to go back to GitHub. One sec. Is that really what I allocated? Default port. Allocations Prometheus. When I'm on stream, I tend to not pay as close attention. 9740. Wow. Yeah, so they've added 300 ports to this list since I created CoreRad in December. So wow, that's impressive. So Prometheus is really, really, taking off even more, which is great. So 9740. There we go. Oh, yep, right. Again, the CoreRad, right. flightdeck. So as you can see, we are now serving our very first Prometheus metric, which will show metadata about this build of nope, wrong. This build of flightdeck. Yes, there we go. Perfect. Done. Ship it. YOLO. Etc. We can initialize this with collectors, right? So reg must register. We want to add a couple of Prometheus collectors. So we want the Go collector and the process collector. Those are both useful things that give us things like Go garbage collection metrics. So Prometheus new build info. Really? Oh, that's handy too. So we want the Go build info for sure. Let's open up CoreRad again and make sure I'm not missing anything. Just it's too easy to, forget things. So, well, a couple hours in, we got a lot of folks watching. Hey, thank you all so much for hanging out. I definitely recommend it. So if you are watching right now and you do not have a Twitch account, at least, I'd recommend opening up the chat. There's lots of interesting discussion going on, people sharing cool links, projects, stuff like that. But otherwise, feel free to make an account, join in and chat. I think it's very fun when we get the opportunity to talk about things. We discuss things like our internet connections or whatever else. So, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. Like, I don't mind at all. I'm happy to explain anything that I'm doing. I can give the basics, the advanced stuff, whatever you'd like. So, thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate it. So, I think in the server here we have, let's see, new metrics. So I have a metrics wrapper here that initializes things with, maybe it's under main. Maybe it is main. Where's the Prometheus registry? Dinner done. Oh, we got a tweet too. Oh, that looks awesome. Yeah, I've seen you've been making all kinds of pizzas. Pizza is great. I definitely should make my own. That's beautiful. Where do I initialize the Prometheus registry in this project? We're gonna have to grep this, I think. So, it's kind of funny how grep is such a kind of a colloquial programming verb. Like, yep, gotta grep it. Yeah, I want pizza too. Actually, shoot, get a pizza stone for your oven. Yeah, that's a good idea. I've actually been meaning to. I have like a pizza pan, but it's like getting like a little bit like rusty on the bottom. So I feel like I should probably replace it. But new. There we go. So internal CoreRad server. Okay, I was looking in the wrong spot. Yeah, I should definitely get a pizza stone. That'd be a lot of fun. Made sourdough pizza in my wood fire oven today. That sounds amazing, especially the sourdough part. I love sourdough. So this is really funny, and you're all gonna make fun of me for being a silly American, typical. But there was a pizza place here, a very good pizza place in town. And at one point, they were serving a pizza they called the Big Zack that was inspired by the McDonald's Big Mac. So you had things like Thousand Island, lettuce, pickles, like mustard, something like that. And I'm kind of a sucker for weird pizzas, so I kind of want to try making something like that at home. I think that would be a lot of fun, you know? Like, I love, like, Alfredo pizzas or just, like, super unusual stuff. Gross. Yeah. I mean, it just sounds like fun. Please stop. I'm a sucker for unusual pizzas, so yikes. Well, it was worth a shot, right? I just realized we don't have the build info collector in CoreRad. We definitely want that, so let's add that really quick. So if I do, yeah, let's go ahead and add that really quick. So scripts develop, which will give us the development interfaces for CoreRad. Working on like 3 projects at once today, very fun. Go build and do it. Oh, so now we have a pizza picture contest going on in the chat. Oh, beautiful. That looks so good. Oh. You all are killing me. The thing is, like, I just finished off a pizza, like, morning contains pizza. I just finished a pizza, like, a couple days ago. Or, yeah, a couple days ago? It might have even been yesterday, but now it sounds so good again. Oh, you're killing me. Localhost 9430, grep go info? No. Oh, metrics, right. Perfect. Yes, this is a metric that's very useful. So the Go or the build info collector will tell you which version of Go was used to produce your binary, which is very helpful. I ordered pizza and it came all messed up from the delivery guy. Oh no, that's a bummer. You gotta have that pizza insurance. What is it, like Domino's or something here in the US has that? You're killing me. I want pizza. So it's kind of funny with streaming because like I eat before the stream. And then by the time the stream is over, I'm always like starving, right? So I just want to eat whatever is as fast as possible. So I make like a sandwich or something. But I should, I don't know. Maybe it'd be smart to like make something in the slow cooker beforehand. We want to commit that really quick. We are multi-threading our project work today. Internal CoreRad. Info collector. Beautiful. Okay, probably the last of the CoreRad today because we factored out the metrics package. So back to flightdeck. Right. So we have the build info. This is still CoreRad. There we go. So did I copy paste that stuff? Yes, I did. Thankfully. Okay. So we want build info. We want the Go collector. It gives us things like garbage collector metrics, new process collector. Since the start of lockdown, it's been super hit and miss if my order is screwed up. Yeah, that's a bummer. You're using one terminal as a mutex. Yes, I suppose that is true. Yeah, one terminal with a couple of tmux pans, you know. So if I run this again, and now we -s piped into less. There we go. So you'll see we have things such as the flightdeck build info, which is metadata about this version. We have the Go build info. Interesting. This gives more devil. This is a different metric than what I just added to CoreRad, right? Maybe there's Go info. Oh, maybe that's both. That's cool. Okay. Build information about the module. Gotcha. That's neat. That's new to me. Cool. Things like the number of Go routines, the current Go version, all these garbage collector stats, very useful. And then the process stats. So you want to know things like the number of open file descriptors, right? So if there are folks here who have deployed Go in production, I'm sure you've run into some silly thing where you run out of file descriptors. That's not very fun. So it's good to be able to alert on those sorts of conditions. On the topic of Prometheus, actually, we should check out the stream dashboard today. That could be pretty fun, right? Let's see here. Very cool. Okay. I'll open this up for you all in the... Can I do this in a guest window? Oh, let's see. I should come up with a... okay, I guess I only get one guest window. That's fine. All right, so I will log into my Grafana really quick. Good luck guessing my 20-character LastPass random password. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. We set this up. I set up this dashboard a couple days ago, so now we actually have a dashboard of what OBS is doing on my computer. So this is all through Prometheus with the Prometheus OBS Studio exporter. Very cool. So we can see that the FFmpeg and RTMP outputs are both 30 frames per second. There is no FPS unit in Grafana. I should file a bug. Ooh, excuse me. We can see my current mic levels, so you can tell if I'm yelling at you or not. That's good. The average time to render a frame seems a little lower today, which is also good. That's really weird. I feel like yesterday, well, we can check, right? 24 hours. Yeah, so yesterday it was taking like 25 milliseconds to render a frame. And today it's faster. What am I doing different? Maybe I have like a less Chrome instances or something. Anyway, back to today. Last 3 hours. Yeah, we're outputting the maximum bitrate Twitch will allow for affiliates, at least. And to disk, I've got a nice archival copy that's going to go to YouTube. So very cool. And it looks like at the very beginning of the stream, we might have lagged a couple of frames, but it's been beautiful ever since. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, right? Oh, interesting. So I have Google OAuth SSL on my local network Grafana. Why not? Yeah, I should do that. I want to figure out like an LDAP or Google OAuth situation. I should just go ahead and do that. Caddy server does Let's Encrypt certs with DNS L1, can access it via WireGuard. Nice. Yeah, I use Trafic or Traffic for the same purpose. So everything is fronted by Traffic, which is nice. Alrighty, very cool. So the to-do, we're going to pump in the X build, or I have like an internal build package I'm going to want to copy from CoreRed as well. So I guess we're getting back in there again today. This is all going to be factored out probably into a metrics type. Yeah, we should probably do that now. So as you can see, we're already starting to build the scaffold, right? So what we've done so far is we open up the RT MIDI driver, check for Launchpad devices, set up context cancellation via Signal. We start the HTTP server, which just has metrics at the moment. For every Launchpad device detected, we will spin up a new Go routine, which will listen for inputs using this run function. And then for every event we receive, it will print a message to the screen. So you can actually see here. Yeah, right. So I'm pressing buttons in the Launchpad. You can see what's happening. So we can actually add a metric for the number of events for the Launchpad, which would be pretty cool. Google Auth is easier than LDAP. Create your app to get OAuth client, give it to Grafana, done. Oh, nice. So it's built into Grafana. That's pretty cool. So I know there's like an OAuth 2 proxy thing, I believe by Bitly, and possibly forked and maintained elsewhere now. That's pretty cool. I should do that for sure. Because right now I just have, like a Matt account and like a, 20 character different password for every single thing. But I would feel better for sure with like Google OAuth with 2-factor and everything, So not that folks can see a whole lot if they get into my Grafana, but I think we're probably at the point where we need to start putting this in a different package. Well, I guess we can continue building out the main for now, but we're going to want to start factoring things out. So func new metrics. Oh, we'll create this metrics type, and it will have a metric called info, which is a gauge. So metrics light gauge. So a metrics will take a Prometheus registry? No. We want this to be factored out by different types. So a metrics will take a metrics light interface, right? So metrics light interface. So now you can pass in either the Prometheus implementation or possibly whatever you want, like an in-memory. So that's the advantage of this metrics light package I've created. Turn M. Yeah, so we're gonna, okay. So this code is going to need to go out to the main. So we'll initialize the metric stuff here. We will metrics light new Prometheus with the registry that we created above. So we'll create a registry. We'll register collectors to it. We will create the metrics light implementation, and we'll create our metrics node, and our metrics node is going to be this new metrics structure. Right, so what I want to do here is initialize this to a local variable temporarily because we are going to set the build information metric. So we're going to set minfo. So minfo. And now this is now a field on this. Oh, Grafana Google Auth config. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, really? It's that easy. Very cool. Yeah, so I've got my Grafana set up with, what do you call it, NixOS, so it should be trivial for me to add that. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Nice. I allow my G Suite domain. Okay. Yeah, I don't use G Suite. You know, it's kind of funny. I feel like I keep seeing all these tweets about like how Google doesn't allow G Suite accounts to do... Hello? Interesting. I see that Google doesn't allow G Suite accounts to do certain things, like you can't sign up for... I don't know, various services. So while I have mdlayer.com, I feel like mdlayer at mdlayer.com or me at mdlayer.com are both kind of meh. Like I've just had mdlayer at gmail.com forever, and I'm just going to keep using that. I don't know. I guess this is the same thing. Like, you know, I could have like vanity imports for Go. I could have like, you know, mdlayer.com/netlink, but I don't really feel a strong need. I don't know. Maybe I'm not using my personal brand to its maximum effect, you know, but. So we have the metrics node. We need to pass the metrics node into the run loop because we want to, for each device, have a counter of the number of presses. Oh, we're the legacy of Google. I have 100 users for free from my domain for long ago. Oh, nice. Okay. Google asked for your domain was free. Maybe it's some caveats. Okay, cool. So you got like grandfathered into like with the older system. That's nice. So let's see here. So this ultimately is going to finally kill off my G Suite, moved it to Fastmail a few years back. Nice. This is going to change a lot. So again, we don't want to rely on concrete things like the Launchpad, but I think for the initial today, you know, we're assuming that the Launchpad is the only device supported by this. We're kind of just trying to get something going. So I'm going to add a metric that is specific to the Launchpad. Oh, nice. Have self-hosted my email since 2015 or something. Yeah, you know, I hear running an email server is horrible. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I hear it's a nightmare. So that it's like hosting my own email is probably the last thing I want to host on my my home lab setup, you know. I could be wrong. I could be totally uninformed, but I understand there's lots of restrictions, and especially like residential ISPs here in the United States at least won't allow you to even like do email server type stuff at home. Hosted my own email for many years. So glad I stopped. Yeah, some conflicting viewpoints here in the chat. You know, things are getting spicy. So, you know, what do you think about hosting your own email? You know, comment in the chat, like and subscribe. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to plug something really quick. So we're going to switch back to Chrome. YouTube MD layer. Does this work? No, it doesn't. This is the problem, right? So mdlayer.com, YouTube. So I hate to be this guy, but I need 100 subscribers before I can have a custom channel URL. So unless you want to remember youtube.com/channel/UC8GQ V1LNU9T BWCRNAP6TQKQGQ. Wow. I could use some more YouTube subscribers, so no pressure at all. Don't worry about it. But yeah, we're trying to get to 100 YouTube subscribers so that way we can get a vanity URL. Would be kind of nice. And also, I post all of the recordings of old streams here, so if you are interested, please do check it out. And thank you very much. I'm sorry. I feel bad plugging YouTube, but again, it's not monetized or anything. I'm just doing it purely for archival of the streams and everything, so folks can go back and watch, because Twitch will clear the VODs out after 2 weeks, which is sad. So shouldn't have blocked that bot. You probably could have bought subscribers. That's true. But those are Twitch subscribers, I think, or Twitch followers, and I've already got enough for affiliate. Again, thank you all very much. We are at 142 followers, which is crazy. I started streaming, was it 3 weeks ago now? 2 weeks ago? Blows my mind. Legitimately, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. So back to the code stuff. We are going to Launchpad events total. This is going to be metrics light counter. So flight deck. This is definitely subject to change. This metric is going to go away or be renamed in some form, but for today, I think this is a good place to start, right? So flight deck, devices, launchpad, events, total. So counters in Prometheus should always have the total suffix. It's just one of the ways you differentiate them. The number of events received by a given received from a given Novation Launchpad device. Okay, so this is going to be partitioned on the device, so the actual MIDI device, and we want to partition on and off, so button presses, probably. Yeah, that seems like a possibly reasonable thing to do. I need a static check for Prometheus metrics named for my platform's users. Well, I have something for you. I actually wrote a Prometheus metrics linter. I don't know if I have Prom Tool installed on here. I do. Sweet. So if you take your metrics output and... One sec. Let me get this building and I'll show you. Actually, I think I have Node Exporter running. Let me pipe it through that. So curl localhost 9100 metrics -s pipe into Prom Tool check metrics. Right? Yes. So Prom Tool check metrics is actually a linter I wrote for Prometheus metrics. So if you output a malformed metric or use bad practices, it will yell at you. So for example, if I type, this is going to be hard on, well, let's see here. So help foo. Oh, cool. I can blame you for Prom Tool now. Yes, you can. Yeah. Help foo, or no. So type foo counter. I'm gonna have a really hard time doing this by hand, but we're gonna see what happens. Foo 1. There we go. So foo counter metrics should have a total suffix, and foo has no help text. So this will actually tell you all the things that you're doing wrong with your metrics. So, or at least the limited subset of things that we've programmed into it. It's being improved all the time, but if you want to verify your Prometheus metrics, you can do this. And I actually have a Go package you can use in tests as well, so I tend to use that in my tests too. So check that out. Prom Tool check metrics. Starting to think I need to trim the beard. I keep getting like mustache hair like tickling my nose, so I'm sorry I keep rubbing my face. I know COVID, but at least I'm here at home. You know. On or off. So state, yeah, sure. Number of events received partitioned by device and state. Cool. We don't want to add metrics for every coordinate. I guess we could, but... Oh, interesting. I'll chat with you offline because we had to significantly fork Prom Tool. Yikes. Should probably file some issues and see if you can get those upstream if you can, but I understand that that's not always easy. So we're going to pass our metrics node into each of these run loops now. We don't have the individual metrics. Now we have this metrics node. So the arguments to serve HTTP? No. Here. And we're getting to the point where I don't like to keep things on one line, so we're going to split it up. Break it down. Break it down now, y'all. Metrics. For every event, we will increment the metric. So Launchpad events total with the labels of the device. So the current it's really sad, but the current Go MIDI stuff I have doesn't expose very good names, and they would be even worse in the metrics. So I think probably what we're going to do is we're going to synthesize a name. So let's print F, Launchpad %D for the ID. That seems fine. What am I doing? Wrong place. Shoot. Oops. Okay. Not paying attention. So Launchpad 0, etc. And we need to pass in whether the event is on or off. So on off is a string that indicates off, and then if e on. Oh, not sure if you stuck around long enough for me to run into the bad names yesterday. Yeah, I think I had to roll before then. So on off. Okay. With any luck, thank you, GoVet. Oh, just found this environment variable which makes all bugs disappear that I've been running into with OBS. Only the UI elements are messed up now, but at least I can capture stuff now. Great, cool. Qt, so do you use Qt as your toolkit? Because I use GNOME. So, or maybe this is high DPI specific. Yeah, I'm running 4Ks as well. Or is Qt is not just... Is OBS a Qt application even in GNOME? I'll be honest, I tend to... I'm rusty on like the differences between like a lot of these things anymore. But does OBS have another UI? Yeah, I don't know. Let me... What's it say in the about? I just installed whatever came with the Debian package. It seems like it's a fairly native looking UI for GNOME, but it could be something else. So, cool. I'll take a look at that. We are at the point where I'm pretty sure we can get Prometheus metrics if we press buttons. So we should do that. That's a nice little demo, right? Ah, shoot. No, we don't want to go build and flight deck. So press buttons. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Right. Oh, gotcha. So OBS is Qt. Okay. So interesting. Cool. I'll write that down. Qt auto screen scale factor. Mine's actually been fine, but I will make a note of that really quick under my stream notes. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I suspect they're just, weird high DPI, teething issues, I guess, but what are you going to do? Watch-N1, curl localhost. I can't remember what this port is. I'm going to forget forever. 9740. 9740. I'm glad I got a nice round number, like 40 instead of like 43, because I would always forget that for sure. Grep for flight deck. Right. Forgot the name of my own project. And -S. There we go. And as you can see, I am pressing buttons, and the number of events for the Launchpad in both states on and off are incrementing. So we have successfully created a Launchpad package, created a small daemon, wired it up with Prometheus metrics, and now we can capture inputs and outputs. So very cool. I think this is probably a good time for us to commit some code. So we'll do that. My issues with GTK, and it went away once I sent my X resources. I think OBS needs some more work to work well with high DPI. The compatibility mode is buggy and not well suited for an application that deals with raw input streams. I see. Well, I am glad that there are folks such as you who have more intimate knowledge about how these things work. Because I have no idea. I imagine that writing i3, you probably learned a fair amount about like Linux graphics. OBS, Linux on the desktop. Yeah, true. Oh, I fixed a few programs for high DPI, notably Chrome. Interesting. Chrome seems to be mostly okay for me, but maybe I'm missing out. So send me some links. Shoot me a message on Twitter or something. I'd love to check out what you've got. Initialize the Prometheus metrics and create a metrics node to pass through application. Oh, I mean, upstream a few years ago, so if it works well for you, that's why. Sweet. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So this metrics type will take a metrics interface, which in this case is Prometheus, but it could possibly be any other type. So for example, like the memory interface or discard if you don't care, which is cool. So, we'll spin up the HTTP server. This will be configurable eventually, so to do configurable listen address and Prometheus capabilities. For the Launchpad with this ID. Cool. We print them to the screen as well. That's fine. Serve HTTP starts in the flight deck HTTP server on adder and serves until CTX is canceled. So again, context is set through the signals interface. So whenever we get an interrupt or a sig term, we will cancel the context, and every go routine will be canceled as well, which is nice and tidy. So I like that a lot. So to do optional Prometheus endpoint. Yep, still correct. Metrics contains the metrics for a flight deck server. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was thinking about calling this project Launch Deck, inspired by the Launchpad, but I think some other project had launchdeck.io, so I was concerned about possibly overlapping in the text space. And also, I think I kind of like Flight Deck better than Launch Deck. I think Flight Deck just kind of flows a little more nicely. Yeah. The idea is that it helps you take flight with your devices, so pretty cool, huh? Try initialize is... We're going to need to store the metrics interface as well. Interface. Metrics light. Initialize is metrics using the input metrics light interface. Sweet. So to do, I'm going to do a to do here too. So to do. So essentially, when we support different kinds of devices that are not launchpads, we are going to have to make it so that devices can provide you a set of metrics that they can update and provide information about. So this is eventually going to need to be part of the device interface somehow. Eventually move metrics initialization to device to tentative device interface. So devices can advertise which metrics they support. Right, because something like a Launchpad will have different metrics than something like a an individual button perhaps, or a MIDI keyboard, I think it'd be pretty funny to see somebody use a MIDI keyboard with this. I don't own a MIDI keyboard, but if somebody in chat does, it would be pretty funny to add support for your device as well. So let me know if you're interested in doing that sort of thing. We're still a long ways off. We're going to need to work out the interfaces properly. But my goal is that you can really use any kind of hardware controller you want, right? So this will be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this project. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to build on stream, and we're going to get to see it work and then use it on stream as well. So very exciting stuff. All right. I think that we are probably in good shape to commit this. Let's make sure one more time that things aren't totally broken. Beautiful. I'm holding the buttons on right now. I'm holding several buttons on. Running out of fingers here. Okay. So you can see that just the on state is triggering. There we go. Hey, nice. Super fun. It's really interesting to be doing a project with a physical interface. So, being able to like do things like this and see it affect things on the stream and the screen, the terminal is very, very satisfying. Hello, new duck. Yeah, so let's see here. We're coming up in about 2 hours and 40 minutes. Today might be a little bit of a shorter stream. We might wrap up in about 20 minutes, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. What are you working on? So I am working on a project where my plan is to take my Novation Launchpad here, and if I press this, you'll see right now these metrics are changing on the screen and inputs are being detected. My plan is to take this and make it so I can use this as like a streaming controller device, so I can do things like changing OBS scenes or volume or lights. So we're kind of creating like an automation device, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I can show you my demo as well. We've got a pretty cool demo that probably some other folks in chat haven't seen. So let's stop flight deck. We're going to go back to my Launchpad repo. Yeah, so legitimately, that's exactly what this is for. So the project is called Flight Deck because I didn't want to spend $150 on an Elgato Stream Deck when I have this Launchpad, and this is going to be a lot more flexible. The only thing it can't do is it can't display images on the keys, but it would be pretty cool if somebody made Elgato Stream Deck support for Flight Deck. That could work. So if I run my demo here, I will go to the main screen, or to this. And as you can see, the LEDs are going to change colors every couple of seconds. And when I press a button, that button will turn red, and some of the LEDs will flash a little bit. So again, I've mentioned this a few times. I think the LED flashing is fairly slow. I don't think this is going to be like an epileptic concern. But if you are very sensitive to such things, I would recommend perhaps looking away. I'm going to do that in 3, 2, 1. I press buttons, and things will flash somewhat slowly. Lights will turn red. So this is all a Go program running on my computer controlling this Launchpad. So we're all done. Yeah, it has LEDs. So what's cool about this is I'll be able to set it up so I can have like a different menus for things like OBS scenes, or I'm getting an Elgato key light that I'm going to be able to control with this too. So we are going to be writing a client on the stream for controlling an Elgato key light. So I haven't seen you in the stream before, so if you're new, click that follow button. I'll be streaming probably pretty much every weekend, so we're going to keep working on things like this, so pretty exciting. But yeah, thank you for hanging out. Hey, New Duck, thank you so much for following. I'll try not to target and advertise to viewers, no pressure or anything. Just if you're interested, this is the kind of thing we're going to be working on, so it should be a lot of fun. So we are at the point where we have... Oh, very cool. Release version 3.0 of my web app game. Nice. I know there are lots of folks... are you a streamer as well? There are lots of folks streaming game development on Twitch, which I think is very cool. I am kind of I guess you'd say like backend / distributed systems programmer with mostly working on like networking applications. So this is slightly unusual for me, but it's fun. Oh, nope. Gotcha. I'm having a lot of fun with this programming on Twitch thing. I think it's very cool. So definitely more fun than I thought it was going to be, for sure. Let's commit this. Let's commit what we've got so far. So first pass at metrics support with an HTTP server. Oh, I would, but my internet and PC is terrible. Yeah, totally. I'm thankful that I have so I work full time, so I'm able to like afford like, good equipment and everything. But I've got like a nice PC and I've got a nice wired internet connection, so it works out pretty well for me. So command flight deck, initial, Prometheus, metrics, and HTTP server. I'm a student, so yeah, totally. That makes things different too. I graduated college a few years back, and we were talking on the stream yesterday, or a couple days ago, about being in classes and such, but it's when you're in classes and such, like, you don't have very much time to like do things like this. Your professors are probably making your life difficult sometimes, but I'd like to start streaming, mostly backend, Kubernetes, and so on, but I don't really have a lot of free time to do so. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's difficult to... You kind of have to make time to do it. Like, I'm doing this on weekends now because I don't have a whole lot going on, but once, kind of the world opens back up, I suspect I'll be doing this less, which is unfortunate in some ways, but during the week, I don't really want to stream because it'd just be a lot of work, you know. But yeah, when you're a student, you don't have so much time for this stuff. Yep, for sure. So we've shown a lot of stuff in the past like 2.5 hours or so. Does anybody have any questions? We still got a good number of folks watching. Thank you all for hanging out. I really appreciate that. I'm super happy to share knowledge, explain things. Is there anything else we want to tackle today? I would kind of like today's stream to be just a little bit shorter because I did a long stream yesterday and it's Sunday night. I feel like I should go relax, hang out, got to work tomorrow, you know. Oh, nice. I'm working on a sand falling physics sim sandbox type thing, so most of it is hidden away. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I have never really done game development. I think the one kind of thing I would be interested in is something like a terminal roguelike game, so something like Dwarf Fortress. Like, I had a friend who was writing an End Curses roguelike in C++ a long time ago, and that was super cool. I wonder if that code is still open source. I don't know. Sure. So a question about Go. How low, high level is it compared to others like Rust, Python, JS, etc.? So I would say that Go falls somewhere between Python and Rust or C. So you can do pretty much anything with Go, but if you're going to write something like a kernel module or potentially like an operating system, a kernel module, or maybe let's see, what else is Go? If you're writing like a virtual network switch that has to push like 100 gigabits per second of traffic, Go might struggle a little bit. But I like to think that Go is very good for like control plane applications, you know, web APIs, distributed systems, consensus algorithms. I have lots of services written in Go running on my network. But then if you really need like every ounce of performance and every memory allocation matters, then something like Rust might be a better fit. Should probably look into syntax and stuff. Yeah, I think Go is pretty cool. It kind of is a nice mix of something like a Python and a C. So it's kind of the curly brace style and everything like you'd expect with C, but kind of the higher level conveniences of something like Python, such as like these for range loops, you know. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out Go. It's great. I will link a couple things in the channel really quick. So tour.golang.org, and I should make a command for this actually. So tour.golang.org and gopl.io. Yes, it is statically typed. It is statically typed and it links to a statically linked binary. So yes, you have to specify types. So context, integer, pointer to a device, etc. Can I, what happens here if I try and add a command with Nightbot? Let's see here. So add Go. Let's see if Nightbot recognizes this. Does that work? I don't actually know how to use Nightbot very well, but I should add that, something like that, because those are the things I usually point people to when they are new to Go. Not sure how Tour would work without previous programming experience. Yeah, it's not really suited for folks who are brand new to programming, but New Duck has mentioned that they are writing a game, so I suspect they're at a somewhat experienced programmer. Yeah, I don't know. As far as like somebody brand new to Go, like I feel like you could probably learn Go as like your first language, but I don't actually know how easy or difficult that might be, to be honest. So we're gonna need to make a configuration file eventually. That's gonna be fun. Oh, cool. Okay, mostly use JS, Python, and Rust. I think you'll be happy with Go. The thing that's important to keep in mind is that like, you know, every language has different trade-offs, right? Okay. Commands, add. Oh, I guess I can always add a new command in here. Am I logged in? Yes, I am. Let me see if I can do it really quick. I know there's a way to do it with Nightbot when you're logged in. I know there's a way to do it from chat. I don't actually know how. So, go. Let's see here. Recommended Go resources. Because we've had a few folks come in and ask about Go. So, yeah. We will now have a new command called Go. Okay, excellent. Oh, gotta go. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for following, and take care. See you around. There we go. So now we have a Nightbot command for if folks ask about Go. Those are my recommendations, at least. I am happy to add more things. And actually, I should probably add YouTube to my social thing, shouldn't I? Yeah, I need to get that short YouTube URL. I need more subscribers. Adding commands. Yeah, I know there's a way to do it. I've seen other people do it in different streams. I just I've only used Nightbot like a handful of times now, for very basic things. It was kind of funny. The first time I set it up, it immediately timed out my brother who was spamming emotes. So cool. So I kind of wanted to wrap it up by 4 o'clock today. So I think we're going to wind down. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything you'd like to see? Perhaps you should code your own bot someday. Maybe. I'm actually, it's kind of funny. I feel like everybody does like chat bots and stuff. That's actually never been super interesting to me. I don't know why. I feel like other people can do it better, Oh, nice. So you do commands add. You're now at 21, so someone here didn't yet click the button. YouTube subs. That's okay. Don't worry about it, but... Oh, nice. Okay, so you found a fix for the OBS issue. Cool. Yeah, I mean, the YouTube thing, we'll get there. We will. I'm not too worried about it, but it would be nice to have youtube.com/c/mdlayer or whatever, But no big deal. Yeah, again, if there's anything folks want to see, otherwise, maybe we could do a bit of refactoring on this. We could possibly start pulling something out into a package. Have to go. Thanks for the stream. Joined a bit late, but it was fun. Yeah, take care. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was great to see you in chat. So take care. See you around. I think we're going to end up going with the TOML configuration file for this. I like TOML. I feel like it is less insane than other syntaxes, and it has comments, so it beats JSON. So, but that will happen. That will happen when we... Ooh, excuse me. Wow, voice cracked. That's I can tell I've been talking a lot. That will happen when we need it to. So... Yeah, first one on stream, right? That's it's like an achievement. There's probably like a Twitch achievement for a voice crack on stream. Have we been paying attention to this? Scripts, CI build. Okay, we're good. We're gonna flip over to GitHub probably and see if all the builds have been passing. I'm pretty sure they have, but let's verify. So white screen coming up. The blinds. Yeah, I'm excited to get that light behind my desk. That's going to make a big difference. If you're interested, you can check out some of my other projects. So I have things like my Netlink package, which I suspect is by far the most used. WG Control Go, which is pretty cool. We worked on this on stream on Wednesday for adding OpenBSD support. CoreRed, which I've been working on previously. Things like my VSock and raw sockets packages, which are cool. Yeah. Super fun. We'll definitely do some NixOS stuff on stream as well. That'll be fun. So let's see here. Repos. flightdeck. I discovered you with WireGuard exporter. Nice. Yeah. Somebody else wrote a WireGuard exporter in Rust too. I believe it shells out to the WG tool, which I think is kind of a shame. And it also does some kind of unidiomatic metrics things. So I was unsatisfied and wanted to write my own. I won't say it's, yeah, it feels kind of bad to redo somebody else's project, but I think there were enough disagreements about kind of what was done there. And I already had a really good Go library. So I wanted to do it that way, I need to get it packaged in NixOS for sure. Hey, I am Will Madison. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. So this is passing. The Launchpad package is also passing. Excellent. Yeah, go. The demo won't actually do this, but hey, off the band, thank you for the follow. The demo package will not, or the demo will not actually create this output. This was a something I did myself, but I thought it was kind of a fun image to show. And then flightdeck, which is what we're working on today. Same image. Tests are also passing, I assume. Yep, static analysis, all good. Linux test, all good. Sweet. I'm getting a message. Oh, Chromium dark mode after your stream. Okay, good to know. Thank you for the link, Taryn. By the way, if anybody wants to start streaming in the next 10 minutes or so, I would be happy to throw you a raid. I think we're gonna be wrapping up. Oh, we can raid one of my Mario guys. That'd be pretty funny. We'll probably do that. He's gonna be like, oh, thank you, MD Layer, for the 20-person raid. He's probably got thousands of viewers right now, but that could be pretty fun. Yeah, so I think we're probably in a good place to wrap the stream up a little bit. So I think this is probably a good time. So with that all being said, thank you all so much for hanging out today. It has been a blast. I would love to keep going, but I suspect I should give myself a bit more of a break. Last weekend I streamed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they were all long sessions, and my hands kind of hurt, just a little bit too much. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for hanging out. So we are going to go throw a raid over to Barbarous King. So Barb is one of my favorite Super Mario Maker streamers. I know this is silly, but it's actually really entertaining. He plays lots of horrible levels. It's super funny. So we're going to go throw Barb a raid, and I'm very excited. So thank you all so much. Let's get that raid going, and then we will take off. So excited. This is going to be hilarious. All right. I will see you all later. Take care.